Spitzer basically is aside from also being very knowledgeable in this game, is also going to fact check everything I say because I am very, very good at saying incorrect facts.
But you say them so well.
I certainly try.
Oh, and we're going.
Oh gosh.
So I guess we should quickly go over the category for any of those who haven't seen a race before. This is a tournament of our 100% category, specifically no wrong warp, no out of bounds. And for us, our 100% definition includes mostly item collection and upgrades and things sort of related to our inventories. So we're going to see our runners this race collecting all heart pieces, so they have full heart containers by the end of the game. They're going to be getting all photos, which are a unique addition to the DX version of the game, which we'll see in a little bit. They're going to be needing to get all unique permanent inventory items, such as the bow, the boomerang, the shovel. They're going to get all level 2 upgrades, such as the bracelet, the shield, and the sword. And in the case of the sword, they're going to need to collect 20 seashells in order to get that upgrade. They're going to need to get 3 capacity upgrades from the Mad Batter for powder, bombs, and arrows. And lastly, they're going to have to defeat the color dungeon to get either the red or blue tunic. So there's quite a lot to do, and they get started here with Quick Sword. Do you want to explain rupee duping?
Absolutely. So this game lets you pick up rupees with your sword or your shield. You may actually have slashed swords if you played this game. It turns out, if the rupee lands simultaneously on Link and also on his shield, the game lets you collect it twice. So they're going to be doing that here to try to get as close to 10 rupees as possible before saving and quitting, because we need 10 rupees to play the trendy game. And so looks like both of them are pretty close, although GT was a little bit shorter, so he's going to be hoping for some rupee drops. And
Xander got a lucky dupe on that sword spin there. Ooh. Great luck for both of them.
Excellent, yeah. You usually want to have maybe 7 or 8 before you get to that field there, and both of them didn't, but they managed to pull it off.
Yeah, they both got sub minute 50 going into the shop there. And realistically, you could get sub 140 in a PB attempt, but for a race with how bad the RNG can be, that is very good for both runners.
And both of them doing a really good job shopping here because, let's be honest, it's
quote-unquote shopping.
Hey, you walk in, you pick up things, you walk out with items. That's how shopping works, right?
I mean, he didn't stop you, right?
Exactly. Oh, incidentally, that is the only death that hopefully we'll be seeing, so 100% is not a best ending category.
Yeah, so we saw both runners. They wanted to steal the shovel because they don't have 200 rupees right now, and then they're definitely going to want to steal the bow and arrow because 980 rupees is a lot to have, even for late game. So it's much faster for them to take that one death in order to steal twice than it would be to farm rupees and come back here later in the run.
Yeah, and that has a couple of added bonuses, because the bow and arrow is an extremely powerful weapon that the game does not expect you to have until later, so we're going to be using it to turn some mini-bosses and bosses into absolute laughingstocks.
Yeah, we're going to see very soon rather, in D1, the mini-boss will just get shredded by the bow. And we're going to see the runners using it for a bit of utility as well, because you can combine the bow with the bombs and get bomb arrows, which is going to be really helpful in quite a few spots.
Yeah. But that said, though, the bow and arrow is not the most powerful thing they've picked up. Oh, no, no. The most useful and powerful thing they've picked up is actually the bomb, because the bombs are used for more than just damage, as you're going to see here in a moment.
Well, I was going to say, we did see Xander already bomb trigger the owl, where GT missed it, and they both got a very good bomb trigger there on Terran. So you'll notice they just kind of crossed the transition there, and Terran just spontaneously turned back into a human. What they actually did was very carefully, with careful timing, placed a bomb on both screens, so like right on the edge of the transition. And by placing 2 bombs in such a close frame window that you're not supposed to be able to do, the game gets confused about object states and will actually trigger Terran's object without having to use the powder.
Oh. Both of them going for pit walk, a very difficult 50-50 chance trick there. Xander getting on the second try, GreenTunic trying twice, not quite getting it. Because any trick worth trying is worth trying twice.
I hope Xander doesn't watch the VOD, because he'll be very disappointed in GT at giving up.
I mean, He gave it 2 honest-to-goodness tries. I will accept that.
Xander has been so excited for this race because he knew it would be pit walk %. But I guess his heart was in it more than GT.
But there we go. You saw first use of bomb arrow right there from Xander. GreenTunic about to do the same thing. Bomb arrows are useful not just because they let you blow things up from far away, but also because they make bombs explode immediately instead of having to wait for the fuse. So you're going to be seeing them use it in a lot of spots to speed things up. But they can't play fast and loose with them though, because bomb and arrow counts are going to be kind of tight, especially in this early part of the game before they get the upgrades.
Yep. Bombs are a little bit lenient depending how things go, but arrows are very tight.
Yeah, most definitely. Especially because they're not going to get the arrow upgrade for quite a few minutes, so... Oh. And Xander's setting up here for the damage boost. And with that, he's got the Rock's Feather, and GT will have it soon. How nice of the game to give us such a powerful item as the Rock's Feather right in the first dungeon.
Right, and more powerful than I'm sure they anticipated.
Interesting. GT opting to use the save and quit there. Usually with a half a heart, it's actually not necessarily a bad idea just to take the death to refill your hearts instead of saving, just using the save and quit menu. But I guess he's feeling pretty confident.
It may not have crossed his mind. He may just decide to go for it, or he may pick up the fairy at the mini boss.
Very true, very true.
You are right that the death there is probably a good use of a death warp, but I'm not sure if it crossed his mind. And
as Spearster mentioned there's the bow and arrow doing what the bow and arrow does.
2 arrows and that's it.
Now it's time for Moldor, legitimately one of the hardest bosses in the game, right here at the start.
Yeah, definitely one of the hardest bosses, if not the hardest, and he's the first one.
Oh no!
Oh, Xander fell! He got the kill but fell. Oh, he's gonna be mad.
He's calling BS in the chat. I can feel it. I can feel it. Yeah, the thing about Link's Awakening and Link's Awakening DX is that even if the boss is dead, until you pick up the heart container, the game does not remember that it's dead. So if you leave the screen, guess what?
Yeah, you have to actually collect the heart piece, or the heart container for it to count. And that caught GT right up. Now they're just a few seconds apart.
Yes, indeed. And now they're both lofting a cello over their head, just like in real life, because they're very lightweight, I've been told.
And that's how you play them.
Yeah.
And something else we glossed over in that dungeon we didn't really cover is we did a series of super jumps in that dungeon. And a super jump is something you can do with the feather, where if you wall clip a few pixels into the wall, kind of perpendicular into the wall, you can then jump and face away by using your sword, your arrow, or even just being very, very careful about it. And by being clipped into the wall like that, the game will kind of treat it as if you're on the other side of the wall and like you're jumping off of it. And we use that in a lot of places to get kind of an extra distance off our jump. And we kind of failed to talk about it in D1, but we'll make sure to point it out as it's coming up, because we use it a lot in this run.
Yeah. If we hadn't talked about it by the time we got to the upcoming log cave, I was going to use that as a spot to mention it, because we're going to be using it again here in the log cave to get a heart piece.
Yeah, and this is a great example of it, because normally you would need to get the power bracelet to get this heart piece. But in fact, we could actually use our bombs to bomb trigger this like we did with Terran. But in fact, we can also just do a super jump just like that, and Xander gets the heart piece.
Yeah, unfortunately for us, super jumps only really work in caves and dungeons, so you're not going to see us do any fancy super jump shenanigans outside.
Except for one extremely notable exception that we'll see about halfway through the run.
That's definitely an exception, though.
Yeah, very much so.
Yeah, but to go back to wall clipping for a moment, it's actually surprisingly easy. You push into a corner and Link will be a few pixels in, and it's uses for super jumps, but it's actually really useful for just optimizing movement in just a couple other spots for also getting around obstacles, because it lets you go around things as well. So little things like that will make a world of difference over the course of this run, being over an hour long.
And both runners here taking a small detour to visit the camera shop. This is a unique addition to the DX version of the game, and they talk to this mouse, and they're going to get their first photo. And as I mentioned, as part of the 100% definition, the runners have to collect all 12 photos hidden in the game, usually hidden as little cutscenes. But you can't access any of those cutscenes unless you've first spoken to the mouse and gotten that first photo. So it's very important that they take that little detour now So just to optimize overworld movement and to get things flowing better for later.
Yep, in several cases there's multiple times you can go get certain things or go certain places, but we have it figured out pretty much too. If we skip something now, there's a very good reason why we're skipping it now, because we'll grab it later when it's faster.
1 frame faster.
Or we can combine visits, which is the case for, I'm sure a lot of folks are asking, why didn't you get the heart piece in the well in the village? Don't worry, we have a reason. Alright,
we see some runners here, they wall clipped into the tree, and then they get the text box on the rock for it. The game tells you that you don't have the power bracelet, you're not strong enough, but for whatever reason, you can actually shimmy an extra pixel or two when that text box comes up, and we use that to our advantage to kind of diagonally clip through the gap between the tree and the rock to get us to the swamp quicker.
Yes, indeed, and Xander actually also getting really, really good luck with Bow Wow. Bow Wow eating that flower immediately. One of the early bits of RNG here being that Bow Wow can just take however long he wants to eat those flowers, and thankfully, it looks like they both got him pretty quick there.
Well, there are a couple setups for that for Bow Wow to eat that flower quicker. Nothing 100% consistent, but I know Xander goes for a setup that works for him, you know, probably 80% of the time or so.
Oh.
Just has to do with positioning and getting, you know, Bow Wow within range of the flower quicker.
And speaking of quickly, that was a Hinox statue, not actually a Hinox, we swear. Once again, the bow and arrow makes short work of early game mini-bosses.
Yep, just 2 arrows here, 2 arrows there.
And already, Xander about to get himself a power bracelet while GreenTunic is dealing with the statue. Yeah, using a slightly newer strat, rather than having to kill the ghost, just getting them both off screen is enough for the game to say, yeah, they're gone, and give you the treasure chest.
And weird quirk of the game, still haven't quite figured it out, but we saw Xander use a single arrow and hit both of the ghosts off the screen. And GT doing the same thing.
GT having that fun effect, though, where he was accidentally standing on the tile where the chest appears, so the chest spawns 1 tile further down.
Yeah. I mean, I suppose it makes sense from a game perspective to have that little safety there, but it's a funny little annoyance when it happens.
Yeah, thankfully it doesn't completely block the door, otherwise that would just be awful.
Yeah.
Thankfully, both of them having not getting trolled by the Stalfos in that one room with the nightmare key. You have to kill them in specific order, and that Stalfos just loves to get in your way. Here we go. It's already time for the Clown Genie, which is one of my favorite bosses. Not because I like the boss, but because it's one of the few bosses where the speed strat just completely decimates the amount of time this boss takes to kill.
Yeah, part glitch and part just good execution. It's a really cool quick kill.
Yeah, because if you fight this boss normally, you have to wait for him to throw fire, then throw the bottle against the wall, then repeat that 3 times. But if you're clipped into the wall when you throw the bottle, it has nowhere to go, and it just breaks. Then phase 2, which is a teleport fest, 2 bombs will kill him, and clever use of bomb arrows to detonate the second bomb early, and you can kill him before he even starts teleporting. Yeah. Just like that.
So he's got few enough iframes you can actually sneak 2 bomb blasts in there. So we make use of the first bomb to sort of damage boost him into us, so we can hit him with a second quick bomb.
Yep, it's a good combination of the tricks we know and all the tools available to us, which is I find such a satisfying quick kill.
It is very satisfying, but also excruciating if you screw any part of it up.
Oh god, yes. As soon as he starts going into his normal patterns, guess what? You're losing a lot of time, which gives you plenty of seconds to sit there with your face in your hands, questioning all the decisions that have brought you to this point.
Yep, especially in a race.
Oh yes. Now, they're both going to be heading on their way to get the Dungeon 3 key, but first, taking this pretty sizable detour here. There's a reason for that. This game's fast travel system is magical pits. Like, for reals, I'm not even joking. But you have to see them before they work, so you're going to see Xander go onto the screen with the magical pit, then immediately save and quit. That'll let us travel to the Dungeon 4 keyhole a lot faster later.
Yep, and the time we save by returning to the waterfall quicker just barely makes up for the detour to get it in the first place.
Yeah, I don't know about you, but I think their bomb count's looking a little bit lean. If only they could upgrade it, like right now.
Yeah, if only there was a way.
Oh, it's the Mad Batter!
What's this funny guy gonna do for us?
Well, assuming they don't accidentally select the wrong menu option, he's going to upgrade their bomb capacity for them, which comes with a free refill.
Also, GT memeing there by pulling the fake tile up in the forest, the corner tile. But yeah, so the Mad Batter, he's got 3 locations hidden around the map, and each location is going to give us a capacity upgrade. But they're not set in stone. You can choose whichever upgrade you want at any given shrine. And unfortunately, the first option he always gives you is to upgrade the powder, and that's the least useful one and the one we want last. So runners at this shrine were very careful to say no and then yes to the bombs, and we're going to see them also having to be careful later on when they go to get the arrow upgrade.
Yeah, but I also see them take a little bit of a detour here to grab a couple of seashells that might seem out of the way, but there's a reason for this. Because the seashell mansion, which they're about to head to, has at 20 shells, it gives you the level 2 sword, obviously, but at 5 and 10 shells, it gives you a bonus shell, like a little extra gift. So we're taking time to grab a couple of extra shells here so that we can get the 5 shell gift, and then come back there for the 10 shell gift. Because before, we used to only get one of the 2 gifts, but now with the new routing, it's faster to get them both.
Yeah, and it was kind of surprising that it was actually faster to go a little bit out of our way to get some earlier seashells, to save time by getting that extra gift later.
Another fun thing is, since unlike the any % no scoob, which was the tournament last year, this one does allow saving and quitting, so you're seeing them use the menu a lot, not just for tech skipping, but also for warping back to places, and in some cases you'll see them do like what Xander just did there, just pop into an extra door to come back later. That's just part of the fun of routing this category, which makes it, I think, really, really fun to just kind of move around, just find fast ways of warping around.
Yeah, and it's too bad. There was a really cool save warp when we used to get the level 2 sword, but we unfortunately don't see it in the newer routes. But we saw Xander just finished, and GreenTunic is just starting his little cutscene to get the Richard picture. The Richard picture.
Richard picture.
We'll say that 10 times fast.
No.
But this is a very important picture to get when we do, because it's actually permanently missable. Once when you find this cutscene, Richard sort of tells you, "Hey, come visit my villa," and that's when you would get the quest from Richard to say, "Go get the 5 golden leaves, and then I'll let you have the key to Dungeon 3." But once you've gotten those 5 leaves, you cannot get that cutscene anymore. Or if once you get the key, you can't get that cutscene anymore. And as we see here, Xander doing a series of pause buffers to prevent himself from falling down that pit, and he kind of just falls into the bush maze there. And it looks like he's digging up a golden leaf, but it is in fact the slime key. So if he had forgotten to get that Richard picture, he would now no longer be able to get it. But that's a very quick way to get the slime key. It saves us from having to do the whole little side quest by getting the 5 golden leaves in Candlelit Castle.
Yeah, there's a reason we call it Villa Skip, although we do actually pop into the villa briefly. It's because we don't have to deal with Richard or his villa or his stupid castle side quest. Now we're already on our way to Dungeon 3.
Yeah, should really be Candlelit Skip, I suppose.
I mean, there's any number of things you can call it, but Villa Skip just kind of... Ooh, GT taking a bit of a tumble.
Yeah.
It's surprisingly easy to fall into these pits, especially if you're trying to go fast through that screen. Now, Xander, we see doing a trick here. He's doing what we call a Jesus jump, where you pause buffer until you see the splash to jump. But if you do it on the screen transition, you can actually transition screens and then use the save and quit buffer to jump on the next screen. Despite not having... Ooh, gets a frame... Xander getting a little frame-perfect trick there to skip that save and quit buffer and immediately be able to jump. That allows us to get that seashell rather than have to come back later with the flippers, so... It seems a little bit time-consuming, but trust us, it's much faster than the alternative. Now, one thing, we were talking earlier about how there's no saving and quitting lets us do a lot of fast routing, which is true, but it does something else. Every time you save and quit, it resets your kill count, so we're not going to really see Piece of Power like you would in any percent. This dungeon is the exception. There are so many enemies in this dungeon, it's actually possible to get the 30 kills needed to spawn Piece of Power. We're going to see that here in a few rooms. And there's a reason why it's so important for Dungeon 3 is it makes the one big skip, the Dodongo skip, which you're going to be seeing shortly, a bit safer, and it makes the boss way faster. So keep your eyes peeled for that.
I do have to say that I don't think that Piece of Power makes the Dodongo skip any easier.
Well, I wouldn't say easier, but I think it gives you a little tiny bit more. Lets you get into position a bit faster, which gives you a bit more of a leeway. It feels like. Because the trick of the Dodongo skip is getting into position quickly, because you take too long to get into position, you're probably not going to bounce far enough to get past those blocks, and you're soft locked.
And Xander nails it first try. Gets his boots and carries on.
Yep, and just like that, he's already on his way to get the Nightmare Key, and GreenTunic also getting himself that piece of power. Thankfully, this is not 10 hours of piece of power music, it's just going to be about a minute or two here. Yeah, this Dungeon 3... Oh, no!
Xander, no!
But he's got the boots! He's got the boots!
No, he's stuck. He's stuck.
Oh, he's stuck. Oh, no. That's unfortunate.
Oh, that is the worst. Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, because not only does he have to save and quit, but he loses piece of power now, so he's going to have to do a... So his Slime Eye fight is going to be longer. This is definitely...
Longer, it's going to be more unfamiliar to him, and not just the time to get back, but he's going to have to be careful not to screw up his item positions in his menu. So there's a lot of reasons why this is bad for Xander. Not the least of which is that I'm sure he's probably very frustrated by this.
Yeah, undoubtedly. Oh gosh, he almost grabbed the... If he had grabbed the Guardian Acorn, I'm pretty sure he probably would have flung his controller across the room. Oh no!
Xander!
Please, just let him boot out of it! Oh my god!
Oh god, he's so mad.
Oh no.
Okay, he's going for the safety key. Which you might as well do. Like, after a death warp coming back to the start of the dungeon, you can grab this key really quickly, and then he can just unlock that first block that we were skipping with the Dodongo skip. So he's just gonna save himself the heartache and just unlock it.
Yeah, meanwhile, GT showing off the quick kill with Piece of Power. Having the extra damage from Piece of Power lets you just completely crush Slime Eye. It just doesn't stand a chance. Oh,
yeah, I was so focused on Xander, I didn't even catch GreenTunic's boss fight.
It was a textbook boss fight. He just absolutely made short work of Slime Eye. Now a little bit of flock clip there to get past that last key block, and Xander will shortly be fighting Slime Eye himself. He's gonna have to be careful though, because since he can't just two-shot the second phase, he's gonna have to be probably make use of spin slashes and the feather to avoid getting stunned while taking him out. So.
Yeah, so whereas GT just kept the boots and the sword equipped the whole time, after Xander breaks the blob apart with the boots, we should see him equip the feather. And we'll see how he does. This isn't a strat that most people practice, simply because it doesn't happen very often that you need it.
He got it.
He got caught. He got stunned by the blobs dropping down, but luckily he was in such a position that he still got them with his spin slash.
Yeah, that's as clean a backup strat as you could have hoped to see.
And gotta be honest, he knew enough to equip the shovel right away. Like, he didn't need to keep the feather and the sword equipped after the boss fight. So that was some good thinking.
Yeah, and now we're going to see a bit more use of save and quit menu on GT's screen here to skip the cutscene where Terra gets chased by bees. Sorry,
I just saw Xander accidentally set up a save state there. I want to make sure he doesn't load it.
Oh, whoops. I'm not sure. I think GT may have either accidentally mispressed it or you just wanted to see Terran chased by bees, which is acceptable, because Terran probably deserves it.
Yeah, he may not have worked that into his route yet.
But he's on his way now to Seashell Mansion for the 10-shell gift, while Xander is heading into that cave that we blew open earlier in order to get a heart piece. This is one of those, I'm not sure how they expected kids to find this heart pieces.
Yeah, this is one of a couple very hidden ones. But we should probably mention that, as we saw... Wait.
Where's he going?
He must be doing an older route.
Oh, maybe so. Which one did he skip then? Oh, he has 10, he just didn't notice. No, don't grab it! Don't do it! Oh! Oh no, I don't think he noticed.
Well, I'm sure he's doing what he means to do, I'm just not sure what route it is.
I guess. I'm just surprised that he had 10 shells and didn't get the one in the mansion. That's just...
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to jump to conclusions that he may have forgotten something, but it does seem a little odd.
Meanwhile, I think we also skipped that Xander was able to successfully skip the Terran cutscene using the save and quit menu. Let's see if GT does it here for talking to the bear.
In my opinion, it's so not worth it doing it for the bear.
Well, you skip a second text box.
Yeah, it's 11 frames faster if you get, you know, perfect saving quits.
I just don't like talking to bears. But no, while we're just seeing some things happen here, it's fun to note that giving Terran the stick is something that happens because the game expects you to have the stick, since you need to actually get that part in the trading sequence to do level 3 normally. So just skip a whole chunk of the trading sequence, and then getting the pineapple is necessary because the bear talking about Marin being on the beach is what you need to do to spawn Marin on the beach. So these are all things that we're doing because we have to, rather than because we want to do the parts of the trading sequence.
And on top of it, the only reason we want to find Marin is so we can get her 3 photos.
I mean, I enjoy her company. I don't know about you.
Oh, it's a fun little date.
Yeah. Okay, and GT finishing off Dream Shrine, using a super jump to make short work of it and just get the ocarina outright. Xander will be doing it shortly, and now GT's spending some relaxing time fishing. He's earned it. Oh! Uh-oh! He tried to skip the little fish, but he's actually just grabbing it. Okay.
Yeah, it's not too much of a time difference to let it go versus, like, catching it. Catching it is slower, but I don't really know by how much.
I think he may have actually tried to dodge catching it, but then it didn't work, so at that point it was probably just faster to catch the small fish.
Oh, did he do 3 fish?
No, it looks like 2 fish.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Alright, on his way now to... Sadly, we must say goodbye to our doggy friend. Take Bow Wow, drop him off. But we'll have a photo to remember him by, it's fine. Alright, Xander's setting up for his naked super jump there, and getting himself a sweet potato.
And that super jump not being necessary at all, but it does save you having to go all the way around that dungeon. It saves you a few menus as well.
Oh yeah.
So this is a huge cleanup section. So they finished D3 and they should be going on to D4, but there's about 15 minutes of collecting and cleanup before they can do that. So this is sort of the first part of that, where they come to Mabe Village, grab the ocarina, get a ton of photos, go on a date with Marin, and then we'll see them head over to Animal Village to finally get the key for Dungeon 4, and then lastly, we'll finally see them climb the mountain. So there's a lot going on in this segment.
And GreenTunic here, making his detour to grab the seashell from the tree near Dungeon 1.
And GT really winding up for that dash into the tree.
He's doing it with conviction. That tree has wronged him, and he's out for blood.
Yeah.
I think it's important to see now, just see what kind of meme tricks they're going to do right before talking to Marin, because it's that can totally set the tone for the rest of the run.
Well, GT's got the bracelet equipped, so I know what I'm hoping for. Oh yeah, GT.
Oh, he's going for the... Oh, only the double.
He's going for the triple nut grab.
The triple nut grab.
Worth it every time.
No,
those are spicy memes.
Oh, that's so spicy. Spice nut memes. Anyways, let's talk about these birds for a second, because they're moving pretty wildly here.
Or we couldn't, you know, we could not.
I mean, but why? Why wouldn't we?
You're right, it is pretty important tech.
It is.
Important tech that no one ever has to know about.
It's secret tech. You have to learn the run before we tell you about it. Ooh! But in any case,
we're gonna see Xander going for the ocean bonk here, because unfortunately Xander's a little misguided, and he believes that the ocean bonk is more swag than the nut grab.
I mean,
nut touch. Oh, you knew I was talking. You knew I was talking about him. He subverted my expectations.
Oh, the stealth nut touch.
But jokes aside, GT's finished up his Marin cutscene, and he went to the well. So as Crunchy mentioned earlier, there was a reason we skipped that heart piece early on. It was because we can combine it with getting that photo in the well with Marin. He then continued down, just got a photo on the cliff, and he's now on his way to get his third and final photo with Marin at the rooster statue.
Yep, and now we're about to see Terran do the thing that makes him deserve to get chased by bees here, because we're just trying to have a nice date selfie. This game is way ahead of its time, and Terran is over here. Well, I mean, he's standing in front of a statue with a rooster on it, so I mean that's not entirely unlike what he's doing to this selfie here. So,
I mean, I think Link's a nice guy, you know. Karen just can't accept that Marin's become a young woman. You know, she wants to start dating.
I know. Just dad things. Hashtag.
Like, if you're saving the world and you're not allowed to go on a date with his daughter.
I know. But that's just the way it is. So now it's time to actually advance the plot with Marion, because she's actually really good at that too. So, turns out that her singing wakes up a walrus. Which, that's not a euphemism for anything, it actually does. But turns out that the setup for the rooster skip in any percent is actually also faster than just talking to the walrus. So we're gonna see GT do it here. Oh, didn't quite get it. There we go.
GT doing a bit of strange routing here as well, because typically if you're going to bomb trigger it from the top, he would actually want to go all the way into that cave at the top that we're going to see them go to shortly and get the heart piece, and then trigger the walrus on his way back. So he's going to lose a little bit of time just to poor routing decisions here.
Yeah,
but not major at all.
Yeah, not at all. But it's definitely curious. So generally, when you see people bomb triggering that, when you generally see them do it on the left because it's along the way and it saves the most frames that way. But still, it's very much a personal choice. I think it feels like some folks just prefer doing the top screen bomb trigger as opposed to the left bomb trigger.
Well, we will see Black, and probably have seen Black in the tournament, do similar to GT, but as I said, he'd go get the heart piece, then do the top trigger, and then carry on his way. And it's actually comparable to doing the left side strat that we see most runners doing.
Okay, and here we have Xander doing that left side trigger, getting it just like that.
So we're going to see when Xander's cutscene is finished, when Marin goes to leave the screen, she's going to leave the screen so much earlier that the bunny actually just disappears.
Yeah, we actually have a lot going on here, because GreenTunic is actually about to go intimidate an empty room, and I'm just going to cough up a key, because, what kind of a madman just fires arrows into an empty room?
Just a giant sand pit, yeah.
Just like that.
So that mini-boss you guys did not see was Landmolus. And he's a big, scary sand snake that just never gets the chance. Because for whatever reason, the devs left his hitbox, or rather, before he spawns for the first time, his hitbox just exists on the middle of the screen, and just two well-timed arrow shots will take him out before he has a chance to jump at you.
Yeah, that is one of those design decisions that we'll actually see come back later, which in this game sometimes bosses do appear before their hitboxes their hitboxes appear before they do, and so we take advantage of that whenever possible.
It's too bad A Link to the Past Landmolus isn't that easy.
If only. Is Xander about to do the same thing here? If he does it fast enough, the room will not talk to him. Okay. There we go. Now it's time for a little bit of a musical interlude, because we mentioned that 100% includes getting all the items, but it also includes getting all the ocarina songs. Even though we only really use one of them, we still get all three, and that includes having a nice little duet with Marin here. This first song is The Ballad of the Windfish, which you may remember is something you actually need to get into the egg, but turns out, faster to use bombs. Link is more comfortable playing the bomb anyway.
Yep, so this song is never going to be used, and neither will the third song because of bombs.
Bombs. I wasn't joking!
Actually, sorry, I was just going to say, this cutscene is actually kind of scary if you're not paying attention, because you just talk to her and she starts singing, and then after the cutscene, she asks you if you understood. And you have to answer yes to actually learn the song. If you say no for some reason, you won't get the song. And it's very easy to accidentally mash the wrong button there and just have to sit through the whole cutscene again.
Yeah, not only that, but you're going to be moving right immediately after, so you're holding right. And imagine if you hold right, the cursor moves out, you're realizing it. Now you gotta listen to her sing it again.
Well, luckily holding right won't change it, but if you were to like press right at an inopportune time, that could be bad.
You sure? I think I've had... I wonder what moved on me at least once. I'm probably just bad at the game though, so don't take my experience as gospel
Well,
truth.
you may have mashed B or something by accident.
Well, no, I don't even remember. I don't even remember. Everything's just kind of blurs together after a while. But anyways,
Long story short, you have to be careful.
yes, exactly. And speaking of being careful, they're both coming up on a very important trick that they have to be careful about not missing. Otherwise, we're going to rib them mercilessly about it.
Yeah, staves maybe a quarter of a second, and it's just very embarrassing if you miss it.
Yep. So GreenTunic first to fate to do it right here, and
oh, he's got this.
Good. Oh, he's got it. Obstacle skip, easy.
No problem. I gotta be honest, like participating in this tournament, the obstacle skip is the only part of the run where I know what I've done will be talked about by the commentators. Especially if I fail it, I'm like, I know they're gonna talk about that.
Yep. Ooh. GT trying to set up for a Jesus jump. Unfortunately having a couple of false starts, but looks like he's good there. Yes, he is. And we take this little detour here to get ourselves a secret seashell and an OSHA violation, which gives us a photograph. And then they'll be heading right into Dungeon 4. So GT getting ready to set up for that, while Xander getting ready to set up for his own obstacle skip.
And normally we do this little side section with the photo and the seashell that GT's doing later in the run. Oh, and Xander nails obstacle skip too. Normally we would do this run kind of on our way to D8 later. It's a bit out of our way to do it now, but as we mentioned earlier, we want to get both of the prizes from the Seashell Mansion, so it's worth our while to do it now. But actually, that brings up the fact that GT missed that second... Sorry, I'm confusing myself. We should have already done both mansion prizes, but we want to get the level 2 sword early in this route. But I am sort of curious what GT is going to do if he didn't get that second prize.
Yeah, I'm starting to wonder if he's just routing something differently, or if he actually may have just just kind of overthought it and just missed it.
Well, because everything else he's doing looks like the new route, so I'm starting to think he may have forgotten.
Could be. And also, important note that Xander got the all-important butt sword. GT did not even try for it.
Wow. Canceling out his obstacle skip by not going for butt sword.
I know. But there's enough about that, because it's time for Dungeon 4. This time, since we're not going to be splitting it in half, because we actually do need to deal with the ghost, unfortunately. We're just going to knock out Dungeon 4 in one foul swoop here, which means a little bit of a detour, taking a little bit of an alternate route to get to the flippers instead of fighting the mini-boss.
Yeah, so GT is actually taking the back way into the flipper room by doing a Jesus jump over that small batch of water.
And just like that,
the mini-boss altogether.
Mm-hmm. Alright, both of them getting that dumb jump pretty easily there. It's not the dumbest jump we'll see, but it's up there.
It depends how dumb you want it to be.
I don't want it to be dumb, but it still is.
Yeah, so GT going for kind of a safe strat by just picking up the pots and super jumping off the wall. And interestingly enough, if you clink off the P-hat while you're mid-jump like that, you'll just get knocked 90 degrees the other way.
Yeah, that one's actually a bit interesting, because for that one you actually have to wait for the P-hat to take off, otherwise it won't knock you all the way up there.
We might see Xander go for the more difficult setup for that jump, but I know he's been burned by it before, so he may opt not to.
Meanwhile, there was actually a boss on GT's screen. That's Anglerfish, legitimately the easiest dungeon boss in the entire run.
I do disagree. I do think Facade is easier, but he is a joke, especially in the speedrun.
I mean, I guess we'll have to disagree on that one, because I've died to Facade. I've never in my life died to Anglerfish, even as a kid.
Your time's coming, my friend.
But no, yeah, Anglerfish, 1 spin slash 2 bomb arrows, or 3 bomb arrows, and he is sashimi. Speaking of fish, it's time for the sing-along to come up here on GT's screen. If you know the words, please sing along. Oh!
Actually, we should be switching the audio over. GT's now been in the lead for quite a while. Apologies.
Oh! All right, I don't think I didn't see everyone in chat singing along, so you have another chance to do it on when Xander does it. So better see those O's. Everyone, I'm shaking my head, shaking my head. But that's Mambo's Mambo, the one song we actually use.
Yeah, so it's useful because if you use it on the overworld, you'll get warped to a screen somewhere in the middle of the overworld where there's Mambo's pond. And use that a couple of times to just speed up overworld movement. The secondary use for Mambo's Mambo is if you use it inside a dungeon, it'll warp you back to the beginning of the dungeon. Now, that is useless for us because we'll just save and quit. But we do use it a couple of times on the overworld.
Speaking of the overworld, you might see our ghosty friend has joined us now. So Ghost is annoying. Sometimes it will just talk to us and block us from doing things. But even though we have this ghost following us, we actually have a handful of important overworld side questing to do here, including the difficult trick that we had mentioned earlier when we were talking about overworld super jumps. So, first things first, turns out the pier of a bridge is actually a pit, just like in real life. So we're just going to drop 2 bombs into it to bomb trigger the fisherman pulling up as part of a swimsuit. Again, just like in real life.
So typically this would be right near the end of the trading sequence, and we'd have to give the fisherman his missing hook. But just with the magic of bombs, he's able to turn our pineapple into a bra.
Oh man, the realism is astonishing. So, we're gonna have to talk to the fisherman again to get another photo, but before we do that, we have to give the swimsuit back to the mermaid.
Which GT does, and GT entered the phone booth there, presumably because he was going to try to save and quit before he got the scale to kind of save some time on her jumping away, but it looks like he missed it. He was playing it a little too close.
Yeah, that was actually tricky to get. There's no good visual cue for it, and alright, he's actually going, I guess we're gonna get the photo after this. He's stopping to go get the magnifying lens first. This trick here is called early magnifying lens, and it's actually pretty darn difficult, even with the 3 setups we know for the 3 Zora positions.
Yeah, so the Zora can spawn in 3 positions, and GT didn't know the setup for the bottom position, and he's getting trolled by the Zora. It looks like he tried to just do an unbuffered setup on the top spawn, and just missed it.
Yeah,
looks like he's gonna go for it again.
Yeah, okay, it looks like he got it.
Yeah. So the timing on that is actually fairly tight. We do now have 3 setups, 1 for each Zora position, whereby you can actually buffer into the right position, so for any given spawn, you can guarantee that you'll get it. GT deciding instead to just try to have really good timing, and he gets it really well.
Yeah, and Xander, it looks like Xander did his setup for the bottom right position there, it looked like, and he got it. He didn't quite get the full height he wanted at the jump, so he had to kind of reseat himself, but he made it across.
Yeah.
And he's gained back a good amount of time on that one, because he got it faster than GT did.
Yeah, and I mean, that's the thing, too, is not only do failures cost you time, but not knowing all the setups can cost a lot of time, too, especially in the case where GT got some really bad luck.
Yeah, and not to mention that all 3, we have setups for all 3, but a couple of them are definitely easier.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, Xander's caught right back up with that.
Yeah, that's one of the spots where I always worry that we're going to have a big differential happen, but in this case, it's made the race a little bit closer, and I am all about that close race goodness.
Yeah. Especially, maybe this sounds strange to say, but I like it when both runners are having a bad run, and they both probably think they're behind, but they're actually closer.
Yes. So anyways, thankfully we're going to finally start dealing with some of this ghost's problems. And that means taking care of some business on the southern tip of the island. First things first, we have to go to the ghost's house and then silently judge him for not cleaning up. I mean, look at this. Look at this.
Look at the mess.
Oh my gosh. I don't know about you, but I've never left my home so unattended that the floor started breaking open into pits.
So apparently this ghost just can't get over it. Can't get over that he's dead. Just needs to see his house one last time. But unfortunately, that's not the end of our journey. You'd think he was done, but now he wants us to take him to his grave. I mean, he seemed to manage to find us from his grave. I don't know why we have to take him back to it, but that's what we gotta do.
I mean, he spent he spent like a minute with us, so it means that now he's invested and attached to us. Before that, we're going to exchange this shovel for the most powerful weapon in the game. That's right, the boomerang. Now, you might be thinking, what the heck is a stun weapon? It's just a stunning weapon. Oh, sweet summer child, you do not know about the Link's Awakening boomerang, do you? Oh,
yeah, I mean, they must have finished Zelda 3 and realized that the boomerang was kind of lame, so they just really amped it up for Zelda 4.
Oh boy, did they ever. The boomerang is going to allow us to do some ridiculous things before this run is out.
Yeah, it stuns enemies, it one-hits enemies, and most importantly, that our runners will probably take advantage of, it one-hits the final phase of the final boss.
Yes. It also makes bushes explode.
Yeah, so it's even a substitute for the sword.
Yeah, so we're going to see Xander do it right here. That bush is now exploded.
So, yeah, so there's 2 bushes here that Xander's collecting, we saw GT collect, where you break the bush and it'll drop a seashell. Similar to the one in Maid Village. But a fun consequence of the boomerang not only being able to destroy bushes, the boomerang also retrieves items. So, the second that the boomerang destroys the bush, Link collects the seashell right away.
So, if that weren't already enough excitement, we're going to visit the Mad Batter again, this time, once again, having to menu past the powder to get the arrow upgrade. So with that, 60 arrows, we are set for arrows and bombs. They won't have to worry about them for the rest of the run.
And this is a very dangerous one to miss, because our route kind of leans really heavily on the fact that we have 60 arrows past this point. So if a runner were to make a mistake and accidentally upgrade the powder here, they'd be scrambling pretty hard.
Yeah, the bomb one you can kind of come back from, and it'll be very difficult. The arrow one, not so much. But thankfully, we can say goodbye to our ghosty friend and get the photo, which is the real reason why we have to deal with the ghost. Thankfully, this actually puts us in a pretty good position to take care of the color dungeon, or as the cool kids call it, Dungeon Zero.
Well, I mean, the game does refer to it, like, internally as level 0, so it's not that much of a stretch.
I'm not saying it's a stretch, I'm just saying, you know... I'm trying to make us sound cooler than we are, okay?
What, color dungeon doesn't sound cool enough?
No.
I'm not sure why GT went back to the grave there.
Maybe he forgot that he'd gotten the photo or not.
Yeah, just absent-minded, I'm not sure.
Alright, this jump here is actually incredibly annoying. This bat just loves to ruin your day.
GT going for the safe strat there.
Yeah. Can't blame him. That bat will easily knock you off.
Well, and if you're not particularly comfortable with doing a really tight dash jump like that, you know, by all means, go for that safer strat. Xander, we see going for the dash jump, though.
And now just pushing these tombstones in the correct direction, and into the color dungeon they go. Or D0.
Now, to even enter the dungeon, you have to answer this silly quiz with these 2 skull buddies at the front, and you simply have to tell them what color they are. And this is just absurd, because if you have color, it's really easy. If you happen to be playing Link's Awakening DX on an original Game Boy that does not have color, they won't even let you take the quiz. So it's just a really unusual decision to have that gate when you enter the dungeon.
Another fun thing here, you see GT getting these rupees in that bonus room there, very Zelda 1. Now, that room is a little bit special, because unlike pretty much every other room in the game, the state of that room is saved in system memory, not on cartridge memory. So if you hard reset the console, which they will do after the next save and quit, that room refills, which will allow them to farm rupees really quickly, which they'll use to get the 300 they need to buy the Frog Song.
Yeah, we used to have a number of locations around the game that we worked into the route so we could get 300 rupees by the time we needed them. But we recently found out that we could abuse this to infinitely farm rupees here, and it's just cut a lot of those locations out.
And the color dungeon also has 2 mini-bosses. Here's the first one, which, yeah, it sure is a mini-boss. Just throw Pocket Sand in its face a few times, and it's done.
Well, funny enough, he is actually a fairly challenging boss if you were to fight him normally. But it turns out that if you buffer a jump into the room and then immediately jump right in his face, you can just mash powder on him and he dies.
And here we go, GT doing his hard reset. We'll see Xander doing it momentarily. And the Call Dungeon is definitely a cool dungeon, but it's also not very long, especially when you have it just carefully routed out. It just goes by so quickly.
Yeah, it's definitely not a large dungeon.
There we go. 300 rupees. There's another boss here. This takes a couple arrows to the face, and there you go.
Yeah, so this is the Stone Hinox. The second arrow always misses, unfortunately, so we have to waste an extra one.
Now we're coming up on the true boss of the dungeon, which is the bingo room.
Definitely the biggest plus or minus in terms of time in this dungeon.
Yeah, depending on if GT has a bad bingo room, we could easily see the lead change here. This room is incredibly annoying.
It's going well so far, though.
Oh yeah, it is actually.
Got blocked. No. Why did he try again? Why did he try again?
Maybe this time will be different.
Oh god, well Xander's having a rough time too. Well, they're tied up now.
Oh my god, equalized. Equalized!
I mean, they both had pretty bad bingo rooms, but I guess GT's was a tad worse.
Yep.
Although, actually, GT needs to do an extra menu here, so...
Yep.
And they're squares, like Xander's ahead.
Oh no!
That room is technically a puzzle, but it's just so easy to bypass.
Yeah, the Rock Spedal lets you jump in ways that the developers had not planned on. Alright, now it's time to see a very important decision here. Which tunic will they grab?
It hurts GreenTunic every time he has to do this, but he must.
Yeah, I think it looks like they both went for red. Yeah, they both go on red tunic.
Yep. So this red tunic is going to give them double damage on their sword, as well as a knockback effect. It's essentially the piece of power effect, but permanent.
Yeah, unfortunately it doesn't give you the movement increase, which would make it unquestionably better. So...
But oddly, it does give you the increased pickup speed for picking up pots and rocks.
Yes. Which is useful, because they're about to need to do some picking up here, because they have to go down to what we call the signpost maze to go get the frog song. Now,
yes, so this aptly named signpost maze is just a sequence of signs that they have to talk to in order. And casually, you'd be surprised at how easy it is to screw it up. But especially in a speedrun, if you're going a little too quickly, you're mashing wrong, you're doing inputs wrong, you can easily talk to a sign twice in a row. And the game isn't smart enough to tell that you spoke to the same sign twice in a row, and will just assume that you made a mistake. And any mistake means you have to start all the way over at the beginning of the maze. And given that this is like a 30-40 second segment, that can be really painful to do.
Oh yeah, especially if you've already done that one jump, because that jump is not an easy jump actually. They both made it look easy, but it's very easy to accidentally take a tumble in one of those pits. Both moving through it pretty quickly here. Xander just has one sign to go. GT right behind him. So we're going to get the best song in stereo. How magnificent.
Don't listen to Crunchy's lies.
Alright, everyone, please rise for the national anthem of Koholint
This is no
Island.
national anthem.
Yes, it is. Don't lie to the people. Photosensitivity warning, since we're getting it in duplicate here. Yeah, thankfully the 30 FPS is making it tolerable. In 60 FPS, this is flashing constantly. But dang though, staying this close to each other this late into the run, by this point you usually start to see a gap develop, but these two have been staying right on top of each other. Should have turned both game audio on. Yep, we'll have to remember that for later races. Thank you.
I don't even know if that's within our power.
Alright, now it's time for one of the other detours. This is another item that's a little bit easy to forget about. It's so Candlelit Castle, remember that place? Yeah, the left side of the moat, which can only be accessed by this little path here, has a heart piece in it. And let me tell you why this heart piece is wonderful. Because there's no dialogue in the game, there are no visual cues in the game that tell you this heart piece is there. But you're just expected to find it. You're just expected to find it. Or more accurately, you're expected to buy the player's guide, so there we go, smart business, I guess.
Or just be very inquisitive and just explore everything. But yeah, like you said, it's very easy to miss because we never really go to the Camelot Castle area. It just so happens that this is probably the best point to get it when you're kind of warping through these portals.
Yeah.
But even then, it's easy to switch your brain off and just continue warping through the portals and end up in Animal Village.
Now, thankfully, the magnifying lens, aside from getting the boomerang, also allows us to get this photo, which should be the last photo. I don't think they'll check before the end of the run, but we'll probably have them check their screen after the run ends to make sure they got all 12 photos. But I saw them get them all, so I think we're in pretty good shape on that one. But I think, and we're probably going to see GT go for the shell in Dungeon 6, though, to get the one he missed. Because that's the most convenient one to get, I think. Wait, when did he get... He has 19 now. When did he get the... When did he get a shell that I totally did not notice?
Oh god, did we do that thing where the commentators don't know what's going on?
No, wait, no, we didn't. That's Xander's screen. Xander has 19.
Oh.
GT... Okay, we'll check on the screen.
We'll keep an eye out.
Yeah,
18.
He has 18, yeah. So normally you want to have 19 here, because the one here in the Armos Maze is the 20th one in the new route. But GT's one short, so I'll be definitely wondering to see if he notices or if he has an intended backup.
Yeah, so the Dungeon 6 one, if he's familiar with the strategy to get it, is the fastest. But I don't know if he's aware. I hope he is. But he can either get this one in D6, or he could possibly get one on the way to D7.
Yeah.
So we'll have to see.
GT's an old hand of this game, so I don't doubt that he has everything carefully planned. Now it's time for some boot... Well, actually, I don't have to do boot strats, because the red tunic makes this mini-boss an absolute freebie.
Yeah, the knockback, you can just kind of corner him. And it's oddly enough, the increased damage from the red tunic doesn't decrease the number of hits that the Armos Knight takes, but allows you to hit him without needing a spin slash.
Yeah, because normally, normal attacks would not even hurt the Armos Knight.
Yeah. And the other thing, too, is typically when he jumps and lands, it'll stun Link for a second. But your knockback hits with the red tunic will actually kind of prevent the stun damage. Or not damage, but the stun from him landing.
Yeah, the effect. But with that, both of them are chugging right along on their way to Dungeon 6, the Face Shrine.
And to answer the question in chat, you could beat that boss with arrows. You can beat that boss with sword, arrows, fire rod if you happen to have it. There's a lot of things you can do. You can even use the boots and the sword.
Yeah, boots and the sword is, I think, the most popular strat for if you're not using red tunic, which actually takes a little bit of work. It's very easy to accidentally get bodied by the Armos Knight if you're using boot strats.
But it looks really cool when you pull it off.
Oh boy, does it ever.
Now, unfortunately, we don't have our boy Bow Wow here to eat that cutscene for us.
Sadly, no. We had to take Bow Wow back. But now it's alright, because now we get to some nice, mellow Dungeon 6 music.
And no, unfortunately, we cannot bludgeon the boss with Marin.
Why would you do that? That's not very mellow.
I don't know. She just wants to be a seagull.
I still can't believe they made that the ending. Now this room's pretty cool. We're just gonna goad the Zols into getting into that bomb blast, and look at that, just moving right along.
So this underground section that Xander's going through, he's just holding up left the entire way. Doesn't matter if he gets hit, doesn't matter what he does, just hold up left and you'll get through it.
And just like that, Xander just taking care of those two Wizrobes and the mini Moldorm and getting himself a nice, fancier bracelet. Now he can pick up those big face statues.
Interesting seeing Xander equipping the boots and the boomerang there. Not really a worthwhile equip.
Yeah.
We see. Oh, I was gonna say GT should have kept his arrows out for destroying the blocks. Instead, he's gonna play a bit of a dodging game here.
Interesting.
Now, GT didn't lose any time. This is a menu he'd have to make anyway. But we recently realized, somewhat like an obvious realization was that we had so many arrows that we could just use them all.
Yeah. And this Wizard Broom is have to time that swing with the sword to get that Wizard to fly into that bomb blast, just like that. And, ooh, I guess we're just a little bit of trouble with the resync on the clock there, so looks like GT is now properly synced.
And that Wizard Broom was something else that is made more difficult by the knockback on the red tunic. You have to really time the hit.
Yes. Now, I'm not seeing GT go... Look, it doesn't seem to be going for the backup shell, so I'm really starting to think he just doesn't realize he missed one.
Well, worst case scenario, like he could get it at any point if he's back at the beginning, so he could do it after he's gotten the instrument.
Yes, true.
But if he skips it past that point, we might see him realizing that he doesn't have it. Because normally, we're going to see them go for the level 2 sword right after this dungeon.
Now, first of all, we're going to see Xander go for have his shot at the skill heads here.
First try.
He's been practicing.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. Looks like GT is already on 3rd try, 4th try, so still pretty good,
Yeah, 4th is perfectly average.
And getting that flop clip right there, and then into one of my favorite kinds of puzzle rooms, the kind that just solve themselves.
And to answer in chat, you cannot get the gift if you have more than 5 or more than 10. You have to have the exact number for the mansion to give you those.
And for those who were asking earlier who Facade is, this is Facade. Yet another example of the hitboxes there before the boss is there. Essentially, Dungeon 6 has just had it with our nonsense and just going to take us on itself. And 5 bombs to kill Facade are a lot easier when you can give it 3 before it even starts the fight. So, there you go.
Yep, and then just 2 well-timed bombs at the end, and the boss barely has any time to get anywhere.
Yeah. I will say that the reason I say that Facade's a bit more dangerous than Anglerfish is because those tiles being flung around do, I want to say, 2 hearts of damage. So
I think they do a single heart of damage, but especially if you have not been collecting all the heart pieces, you'd be at lower health. And as a casual runner too, you're probably taking a lot more hits than these guys.
Yeah, and they also knock you around pretty hard, so if you're trying to set up for a bomb and the tile hits you, you're going to drop a bomb somewhere else on the screen that won't hit Facade, and then you have to wait for that one to explode, and that means more time for tiles to hit you, and it snowballs. Ooh.
So we saw Xander going for the swag bomb, but unfortunately dropping it early, and then getting a bomb trigger on this owl. So we saw Xander was just kind of talking to thin air there, whereas on GT's screen, we see an owl actually fly in to talk to him.
Alright.
So just a minor time save there, probably only cost GT a second or 2 to not get that.
Alright, now if he goes straight for the Seashell Mansion, he's going to be in for a rude awakening.
I don't think he's noticed yet, because he should have gone back into D6.
Yeah.
Oh, never mind. I'm eating my words. He's aware. But what is he going to do? Oh, he's going to hookshot jump.
Ooh.
Or Villa Buffer. Okay, we're going to see GT do a series of pause buffers, similar to Villa Skip, until he cancels the fall. And then from that position, he's going to jump over to this. There's a seashell hidden over in that staircase that you normally need the rooster, the flying rooster, to access. And I have to imagine he's only doing this backup shell as swag strats.
What a legend!
But unfortunately, he has to do it going back as well as in.
I mean, you could save and quit back to the D6 entrance, but...
No, because he's entered that entrance.
Oh, you're right. Oh, no.
Ooh, got a really quick buffer there, though.
Unfortunately, yeah, Seashell Mansion would have been the safe one, but you can't actually save and quit back to the Seashell Mansion entrance, oddly enough. It won't let you.
Yeah, so for whatever reason, the game will not save your last warp if it's a 2D section like this. Such as like the Fisherman or the Seashell Mansion. You'll just go back to your last actual warp.
Alright, but we should probably start talking about D5, because Xander's about to come up to one of the other really important tricks of the run here, which early hookshot.
To answer Spice in chat, GT missed the 10 seashell prize from the mansion.
Oh gosh, that positioning. Oh. So
okay, good. Xander knowing not to panic, getting the acorn there doesn't break the glitch. So luckily he seems aware of that. Or I hope he's aware of it anyway.
Alright, so for this one the trick is, you're supposed to fight Master Stalthos 4 times throughout this dungeon, and the 4th time, which is in the room to the left here, he drops the hookshot. Now, that takes forever, and you have to go all over the dungeon. Thankfully, he gets it right there. But a key dropping from the ceiling is the game treats it the same as the hookshot, which also kind of falls from the ceiling. So if you grab that key with the boomerang and pick it up the same frame you go through the door, the game says, "Oh yeah, you totally picked it up on the other room," and gives you the hookshot.
Yeah, and just to clarify, it's more like that room kind of reskins the small key into a hookshot. So yeah, we just drag it into the other room. Was that second try for Xander?
Yes, there was.
That's awesome. So I'm not sure if you mentioned it, but it's a 50-50 trick. So second try for Xander, he's going to be happy with that.
Yeah. We're on the same wavelength, because if you had not said that next, I was about to. So we got this. And a fun thing about having a level 2 sword is that normally you're supposed to use bombs to hurt Master Stalfos. Sword beams do the same thing, so hey, cool. One less menu.
Ooh, first try for GT.
Nice.
So that's going to save him probably 10 or 15 seconds over Xander needing that second try.
Yeah, and right now, especially with having to go get that other seashell, he needs to be making up some time wherever he can.
Yeah, of course.
That'll definitely help.
Now, it's really nice to get the early hookshot here, because we see Xander simply using the hookshot and extending that bridge. Normally, in a lot of other categories, we come here without the hookshot and have to do a really dumb jump to get there.
Incidentally, that is also the name of the trick. We literally call it dumb jump.
I think it was in fact you and Final Flame that coined that term last tournament.
Was it? I heard it first, so...
Dumb jump.
So I'll give it to Flame, because I heard it before I started using it.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, the only thing I coined was the Roomba Room.
Another good one.
It's my only contribution to this game. I will hold it close to my heart.
Well, hey, it looks like a Roomba. Maybe it sounds like a Roomba.
Yeah, exactly. Now, here's another spot where we might have a little bit of time gain, because with the red tunic, Wall Snake coming up here is actually a harder fight than normal because of the longer invincibility frames you get with the red tunic. So getting the 2-cycle, which is optimal, is actually a little bit more challenging. So if Xander has a little bit of trouble getting that 2-cycle, that could give GT a chance to catch up if he does get it. So we'll see how that works out for them.
Yeah, ideally runners want to get 4 hits each cycle and get a 2-cycle. Ooh, is Xander getting a 4? Can he get a... Oh, that's a terrible spawn.
Ugh. This is going to be tough.
He's not going to get it, yeah.
Ah, shoot.
He was too close to the top.
Hopefully he won't get any fake snakes. Okay. Good, good, good.
Yeah, it's very hard to get 4 hits with the red tunic when you have a short pull like that near the top. But yeah, unfortunately, Xander getting trolled there. It's random where the head pops out, but unfortunately on that second cycle, just where the tail happens to be, if he spawns in that bottom right corner, it's very difficult to not get hit by the tail and kind of knocked out of your attack.
Yeah, and not to mention, if you get 7 of the 8 hits, there's a possibility of pulling out a fake snake, which you can get any number of those, and that can really just lose you time and raise your blood pressure.
Yeah, I think it depends on the number of hits as well as the number of pulls you've had. So I think after 3 pulls. Okay,
well that's good news.
I've never looked into it too closely, but I think Xander was sort of safe on that third pull there.
Yeah, because all I know is that I've gotten 6 fake snakes in a wall snake fight before, and I was not loving life at that moment.
No, that's rough. But GT having a really good fight there too.
Yeah. Absolutely, both of them playing really well in this late game, and about to head up though to another trick that could definitely change the course of the run here. It's time for probably what I would call the big gatekeeping trick of learning this run, which is Rooster Skip.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say obstacle skip number 2.
I said gatekeeping trick, not important trick. I mean, shoot.
Well, I mean they're banned if they don't get it. That's pretty gatekeeping.
Yeah, it's true. It's difficult to talk to the community when you can't talk in the Discord. Nah, but first we're gonna do a little bit of a bomb trigger to get this heart piece here.
Yep, this is our last time coming up the mountain this way, so we're gonna get that heart piece before we leave.
Very nice.
And also just to mention that this was our second time using Mambo's Mambo to make our trip to the mountain a little bit quicker.
Alright, Xander getting going, I believe. I want to say that was 2 for 2 on obstacle skips.
Indeed. But yeah, here comes Rooster Skip.
Alright, now, do either of them do it unbuffered? I think GT might, but I don't know about Xander.
GT will probably do it unbuffered unless he gets into trouble. Xander actually going for a safety save there, which isn't necessarily a bad idea.
Yeah,
and Xander will definitely go for buffered.
Yeah, because if you fall down, it's definitely faster just to hard reset than it is to do the runaround. So here we go. There's one specific pixel where if you press jump on the same frame that hookshot retracts, you can jump even on an open pit like this, and it looks good. Oh, he didn't quite get it. He's not getting the pixel. He has to be careful. Okay, you got it. Because the danger there is, because of global frame rules, even if you get the hookshot out, sometimes the game will still have you fall in the pit. So there's always a chance of failure, even if you're doing everything right.
But even with a couple extra buffers there, first try is always better than second try.
Oh, definitely.
Because you'll lose 30 seconds at least if you fall.
Alright. So GT is probably going to go for unbuffered, and...
Yep. Oh! First. Hey!
Oh!
One try, second try. Almost double firsties. That was very fast.
And that's a frame-perfect trick to do it unbuffered, too, so that's extremely impressive.
Yeah, so... GT definitely saving some time on Xander there. Probably about 10 seconds, I'd have to say, given the buffers, and Xander having a little bit of trouble with it.
Yeah, but most importantly, both of them got it, neither of them took a tumble. That's always something I love to see in these races, because you never want to see anyone take a tumble doing Rooster Skip.
Unless it ties the game up.
Okay, yeah, I'll give you that. But when it's this close, you really don't want to see someone take a tumble.
No, of course not.
Alright, now both
they must both be happy with that.
Yeah, absolutely. Now it's time for Dungeon 7, which, I don't know about you, but I hated this dungeon casually. But in the speedrun, this dungeon fills me with life, because bombs make it into a circus.
Yeah, this dungeon having 4 floors to it, it's kind of a bit of a maze, left, right, up, and down. You kind of have to go up floors, down floors, go through one-way doorways, and bring this steel ball with you the whole way to try to knock down these 4 pillars, because you can't access the boss until the 4th floor falls down. And it's a conceptually very interesting dungeon, but we absolutely obliterate it with bomb triggers.
Yeah, because, we have to... big metal ball around, guess what else is around? Bombs.
Yeah, we can throw those around too.
Yep. So we're going to see them do it right here. Thankfully, the game has graciously provided all these pits. So, gotta kill this Zol here to make sure that the sprites are in the right locations, and just take care of the pillars in this very specific order, just like that.
Very nice safety buffer on the first one, but getting a bufferless on the second one. Xander going in for a perfect unbuffered pit buffer on the third one.
And Xander's really on point with his unbuffered transition ones here.
Ooh, yeah, that was a very solid pillar segment. He only had one menu there.
Yeah, GT also just taking care of it, no problem. And those pit ones can be a bit dicey, because if you're mashing, you're just not on point, you can lose all your bombs down those pits.
Yeah, I mean, it's technically a 3-frame window up to 4 frames after the first bomb. But that's harder than it sounds, especially if you're not, like, amazing at mashing. You can just watch all your bombs disappear into the hole.
Yeah. Okay, there we go. Nice save with the pause buffer there for GT. So, oh, did Xander just get a first try Goomba Surf? I think he did.
It was a very quick one anyway. I didn't catch to see if it was first.
I think it was first try, but I didn't hear multiple. Okay, I can't claim anything. But now it's time for Evil Eagle, and you're going to see a fun strat here. So as it flies at the top, hookshot down, because it turns out hitboxes wrap around the screen.
Yeah, and typically you should not be able to shoot your hookshot through the bottom of the screen. Normally it would clink off the edge. But there's something strange about this screen, and the fact that we'd saved and quit at some point in the run removes that barrier there. And we don't really understand why that barrier is not there, but we take advantage of it.
Now, GT did not get a chance to do Goomba Surf. The Goomba was not cooperative, so he went for the backup strat, which is a little bit slower if you get a good Goomba Surf pattern, but it's 100% consistent. We call it the P-hat jump, a super jump into ticking off a P-hat to land on those crystal blocks.
Yeah, very similar to the P-hat jump, super jump we did in D4 to get to the boss key.
Oh, looks like GT is going for a combo here?
Well, he's doing bomb strats like we would do in the main category, but the fact that he's got the hook shot, I'm surprised he's not opting for it.
Oh, well, I guess whatever he likes, I guess.
Yeah, I mean,
also,
it's still a quick kill.
Yeah, he's also setting up to see if he can hookshot the heart container once it appears at the top of the screen. Nice. So, GT definitely gained back some time with his really good rooster skip. But Xander probably has the slightly more solid Dungeon 7 there, getting the quick Goomba Surf and also just doing the hookshot stress on the boss. So I'd say they're probably about where they were before the leaving Dungeon 5. But now it's time, they're on the way to Dungeon 8, which is definitely an interesting dungeon, but I'm hard-pressed to think of any situations where it could cause any dramatic time loss in D8.
Well, sometimes people will struggle with the hookshot clip early on in the dungeon.
Ah, that's right.
It should be fine for both these runners, but that can be an issue. Sometimes the mini-bosses can get away from you a little bit, although with the level 2 sword, once again, that should not be an issue.
Yeah, level 2 sword, red tunic, they're just doing so much damage right now.
Yeah, like we can kill both the mini-bosses in just 2 sword spins, so it's not going to be much of a problem. I think the biggest possible time loss in D8 is going to be the final boss.
Oh yeah. That's
very difficult to manipulate his health, and it is possible to get a 1 cycle with him, but it's also very common to get a 4 cycle with him, so we'll see how that goes.
Yep.
you know all too well, eh? But here's Flame Skip. So Xander is clipped into the wall, dashing, and by being wall clipped, the flame doesn't actually knock him back, and he's able to use his iframes to get right through it. Which is just just an absolute abuse of wall clipping. Normally you would need to equip the level 2 shield and kind of block the flames with it, but it's much quicker to simply dash through it like Xander did, even though we actually have the level 2 shield.
Which I always found kind of funny. You do it in any percent because you have to, you don't get the shield, but in this one you have it, but it's still just faster to do it the other way.
Yeah, and sorry Final Flame, it's just faster.
Alright, so we're coming up here on... Oh, okay, I was about to say, what's he do? Okay, he's setting up for a... Dungeon A is a huge labyrinthine dungeon, but it turns out that knowing where the breakable walls are and using bomb arrows cuts the time in this dungeon really down. This dungeon becomes so much faster.
I do just want to quickly answer the Real M's question in chat. He wants to know if getting the glitch tunic, or glitching a tunic, if that's allowed for this category, and for this category, it's not. In this category, everything has to be obtained in like the original location. So if you're not getting the tunic, from the Tunic Fairy, then it's a no-go. But we do have a very interesting category called 100% no restrictions. It's like a 40-minute, 35-minute run where you have to collect all the same things that we do here, but you can do it however you want. Every glitch is a go.
So yeah, there's pretty much a lot of out of bounds and wrong warping in that one.
Yeah, it's a very different run.
Alright, now it's time to... You remember that trick we did right before D3 where you Jesus jump on transition to allow you to get stuff? Well, this case, with lava, you just go swimming in the lava. Lick's a strong boy, he can handle it.
Yeah, and for whatever reason, when you bypass the lava check, the game actually treats lava as if it were water.
Hey, whatever works.
Yeah.
And yeah, so we didn't fight him in D4, but this is Cue Ball, the D4 mini-boss, come back again, and it's dead.
Yep. 2 swings.
And here we go into the Roomba room. So this is an interesting room just because there's many different ways you can actually solve it and also jump to get close to where the chest spawns, but everyone does it a little bit differently, and I always found that pretty cool.
Yeah, see, while you're controlling the Roomba, you can press jump and you can kind of manipulate Link's movements. But it's more difficult than it looks because there's this huge input delay on the Roomba. You have to kind of anticipate where it's going to go, and you want to input the next direction before it's finished its last tile, which might sound a little complicated, but it's not as easy as it looks. It's very easy for a runner to accidentally get his timing off and screw up that puzzle.
Yeah, not to mention the direction you're holding is not necessarily the direction you jump in.
Yes, that's true too. It kind of freezes the direction that you first push the block in, and then adds other directions to it. So if you push the block up and then hold left, you'll kind of jump up left.
Alright, Xander's actually looking good getting that 0 cycle.
Yeah, that was killer. That was great.
Yeah, that's what you want to see every time you fight Hothead. I mean, you won't, because Hothead sucks, but you'll try. You always want to see that. And going for the all-important trick, and we have ourselves a Wang Boys. This run is validated. Oh no! GT, unfortunately, losing control of the Roomba, having it crash into the bottom wall.
Hopefully that's not the commentator's curse, but that's sort of what I was talking about. It's very easy to accidentally hold the wrong direction too quickly or too long and have the Roomba just end itself on a wall.
Interesting. Both of them actually use the exact same pattern for pushing the Roomba and jumping. I don't think we've seen that so far this tournament.
Yeah, and that is an odd pattern.
It's the same one I do. Who are you to judge?
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, my bad. More common than I thought, I suppose.
It is. But actually, yeah, you saw Xander doing it, and now GT's doing it as well. That's the final heart piece. Now both of them have all the heart containers, well, heart pieces, and on the way to the egg.
And yes, we're going to break out our symphony with the bombs.
Yes. Because Link is not so good at playing the sweet potato, but he's pretty good at playing the bombs. So it's just the faster way to go. He's more comfortable with it. We're not going to force it. Ooh, GT having a little bit of trouble with Hothead here, though. Hothead's health is a bit odd. It's not always the same. So sometimes it takes more hits, sometimes it takes fewer hits. You just kind of got to roll with it and deal with its movements. It's an annoying fight.
Well, it's not that his health is random in any way. It's more just the fact that after you hit him, he has an extremely long period of invincibility frame. So mashing versus timing it can be really tricky. And every time he goes into the lava, he regains 1 hit worth of hit points. So it's kind of like the longer it goes, the longer it goes.
Alright. My information sources have not been reliable. Thankfully, Spearster here to set the record straight. And it looks like GT holding Wang Boys just a little bit longer, just so that we can make sure to see it.
And we did, GT. We did.
And we appreciate. Alright, Xander about to head into the egg. Now, even though we have the magnifying lens, you might be saying, hey, aren't you supposed to go read the book to know what the path through the egg is? Sort of, but not really. Turns out that reading the book is what sets the pattern, so if you don't read the book, the default pattern stays in place, and we just happen to know what it is, and there's Xander finishing it off.
And I see in chat someone timed that they've got a roughly 90-second difference at this point, which works out to approximately 11 blue balls. So we see Xander going for the blob quick kill here. You want the blob to land on your sword. You'll always get 1 hit, but the other two hits is kind of 50-50 chance. So he had to bring out the powder to finish him off. But the second phase we see coming up is Aghanim, a reference to Link to the Past Aghanim. He's going to shoot either a round shot or blue balls, and the first 2 shots are always reflectable round shots, but then everything after that is a 50-50 chance, with absolutely 0 cap on it. The world record, I believe, is 17 blue balls in a row.
Yep.
And so, as I mentioned, it's 8... Well, I didn't mention, but it's 8 seconds for each blue ball you get. So Xander would have to get 11 blue balls for it to tie GT up here.
And we've seen 14 in this tournament.
Oh, did we? Who was that?
Yes. No, I think it was 13. It was 13. And I can't remember who it was, actually. I was commentating, but I can't remember which race it was.
That is so painful.
Yeah, Xander getting 1 blue ball, so that's not too bad. Now let's
That's
see
very good.
We'll have a quick kill on Moldorm here. Looks good. So, having made it past Aghanim with only 1 blue ball, Xander's in really strong shape here. I think it's, I think he might have this.
Yeah, the last little bit of luck Xander's got is he has to wait for Deathville to open his eye so he can hit the boomerang. You can get trolled quite a bit here, but with the time gap between the two of them, I'd be very surprised if it came into play at this point. And there it is. 1 shot from the boomerang finishes the final boss.
Alright, GT setting up for his Aghanim fight here.
But GG to Xander. He wins this race against GT with a final SRL time of 1 hour, 23 minutes, and 55 seconds.
Alright, GT getting his first blue ball there. Second blue ball. Oh dear.
Also, you may have noticed that we don't have any music during this boss fight, and that's just a consequence of a tech skip that they both performed when they first entered the room. They mashed the bombs as quickly as they could to get yet another bomb trigger as they were falling down. And it saves about 10 seconds, but you end up with this very quiet boss fight.
Alright, GT getting 3 blue balls, but thankfully past that point. Also getting more Moldorm quick kill.
And GT, I think we'll be seeing him go for Death'll Skip. Probably unbuffered Death'll Skip, knowing him. Oh no, he killed him. Oh, sorry. He did spawn 1 bat, so he's going to try to freeze this bat by playing the Ocarina on the right frame, and unfortunately he missed it.
Oh, worth a shot.
GT is probably the best in the community at going for that trick unbuffered, but unfortunately not tonight.
Now just wait for him to open up. Come on, Death'll.
Yep.
And here's Xander. GG, Xander. Congratulations.
Thank you. That was
How you feeling on that one?
that was quite something. Gotta say.
It was a pretty interesting race from both of you guys.
Yeah, D3 just got me, man.
Oh man.
Yeah, that was hard to watch.
If that didn't happen, I would have actually just had a PB there, but whatever.
And GG to GT, he just finished his run.